proven to be the Delta variant.
It's a virus that's been with us for a year and a half now, but it's getting better at what it does. So it can cause infection more easily, spread more easily, and cause disease.
Cleveland Clinic's Dr. Daniel Rhodes says the Delta variant is increasing in its prevalence and frequency in Ohio. So how do you know if you get sick with the coronavirus variant called Delta?
The symptoms range all the way from asymptomatic, meaning somebody doesn't have any symptoms, to it's killed hundreds of thousands of people. So that's the other extreme. And then there are symptoms all the way in between. So it could be a stuffy nose, it could potentially be sore throat, often cough and fever, but it can be anywhere in that spectrum.
And the CDC is reporting that the Delta strain now accounts for more than 50% of recent cases across the U.S. The good news, the variant presents very little threat to those who are fully vaccinated. Another reason that Dr. Rhodes is urging the community to get the shot. Rachel Polanski, 3 News.
We aren't the only ones keeping an eye on the coronavirus. Now on your feet at 5, no fans allowed. The Olympic Committee banned all fans from watching the Olympics in person later this month. And this all stems from the country declaring a COVID state of emergency this morning.
Yeah, that's right. Our sports director, Jim Donovan, joins us now with the latest on this. Hi, Jimmy. What's going on in Tokyo?
Boy, I'll tell you what, this is a severe blow once again to these Tokyo Games. A lot of times you can say a big event, if it runs out of steam in the second week like the Olympics, you could say it's limping to the finish line. These Olympic Games are limping to the start line. So the big announcement today from the government of Japan: no fans will be allowed at any of the venues for the extent of the Olympic Games of Tokyo. The reason is because of another severe outbreak of coronavirus. In fact, they've put the country into their 4th state of emergency. And this state of emergency is being put into effect before the games begin and will last from beyond when the games would come to an end. And so, therefore, the stands will be empty. Now, remember, we've gone through different stages of this. First of all, it was no international fans were going to be allowed in. And then they loosened a little bit and said, well, we'll allow 10,000 fans at venues, but they all must come from the host country, Japan. And now this today, so you can imagine what is going to happen here. How will the athletes feel? How will they feel in the opening ceremonies, marching into the stadium, which is always a huge event, waving to the crowd, but there will be no crowd there. There will be no crowd at any of the events. But the Olympic Games are going to go on, gang, and here is why. Okay, the IOC, their operating budget is controlled 75% according to broadcast rights fees. If these games did not happen and were not televised, they would lose between $3 and $4 billion. Wow. So they are saying the games will go on, and you can only watch them on television, and at least we'll get our rights fees paid.
Well, and there's been billions of dollars paid out to build up all the venues in Tokyo and all the marketing and all that surrounds it. And a lot of their revenue is paid back through fans.
Absolutely. The ticket revenue is not going to come into these games. And you're right. The cost of hosting the Olympics with all of the new structures you have to put up, stadiums at these venues, is just astronomical to begin with. Sometimes even with a full capacity, you never get the money back. Right. Now they're not going to get any of the money back. So it's another shot. This is like a fighter who gets trapped in the corner in his bout, and the other guy just keeps hitting him, and you can't get out of the corner. And that's what's going on with these Olympic Games. It's really tough to watch.
But the games themselves will go on.
Absolutely.
We will see them right here on Channel 3 starting on the 23rd.
2 weeks from tomorrow.
All right, we got it. Thanks so much, Jimmy.
You got it.
All right, well, we all know the challenges that come with life returning back to normal, and kids are no exception to that as they prepare to head back to the classroom this fall. Marissa Sines reports tonight on how to ease your kids back into the social atmosphere.
Didn't have any social interaction except for between the siblings.
Life as students knew it went quickly when the pandemic struck Northeast Ohio. Coping with the changes came with challenges. Now, heading back to the classroom poses more hurdles.
When we first started going back, it was really strange.
The Hone Samples family returned to school last year. They know firsthand.
Had to get used to talking to teachers again, used to talking to friends.
Someone experienced in social emotional coping is Robin Cutler, the executive director for Girls on the Run Northeast Ohio. We sat down with her this afternoon to talk about how to make the transition easy for kids.
I see that there's going to be a lot of learning recovery needing to be taking place this year.
Cutler's program tailors specifically to girls and middle school and younger.
Not only are they struggling in the classroom, but they're not able to make connections because of the gathering restrictions.
But the transition and feelings such as anxiety or stress is universal for boys too, of all ages.
So the lack of interaction that these kids have had, I also think it's going to take a while for them to feel that they can be their authentic selves. They can pick up on the social cues.
With kids now returning to the classroom, one good way to help them transition back is to get them off the computer
and bring them outdoors to places like this to socialize.
Keep the conversation open and fluid and transparent, and anything goes.
Cutler says kids need to talk through their feelings so they know they're just that.
They need to know that there's not anything wrong with them, or still who they are, who they were before the pandemic. It's just a little bit buried, and let that magic start to come out.
Marissa Signs, 3 News.
It's certainly great advice from Marissa. You know, Betsy, I've noticed it, especially with River. I mean, he's 2 now. I've got the 3 kiddos. We went on a hike down in Hocking Hills, and other people were coming by, and he's pointing at them saying, that. And I'm like, those are people, River. You know, you forgot what people are. But after doing, you know, what Marissa was talking about, getting them outside, exposed to other people, he's now saying, you know, you go to Cleveland where there's lots of people. You know, he's now recognizing other people. But it's interesting. He's 2. I can't imagine what the kids, like your kids especially, and other ones are going through with that change.
Yeah, well, Violet has already been asking me. She's going to go into 1st grade. She's already asking me if she has to wear a mask to school next year. Josie's fully vaccinated in middle school, so we don't know. I mean, they haven't released any of the new guidelines on what's coming up, but they're so excited to get back into a school routine and get that started up again. We just don't know what it's going to look like.
Right, and we're getting close now. I mean, next couple of weeks, I think we'll hear those decisions.
Exactly. Do we have to buy more masks?
Right.
Probably. All right. Well, be ready to be afraid, everybody. You know, Halloween was one of the things that was impacted a lot last year by COVID. Well, now we can celebrate Halloween year-round. The Haunted House Restaurant will be opening July 20th. It's in the space that used to be Melt on Cedar Road in Cleveland Heights. It's like Halloween every day of the year. Creepy decor from Friday the 13th, Frankenstein, and It. And then get ready for the food. Nightmare on Elm Street corn, the Lurch Burger, Jaws Pizza. The drinks you can expect, things like the Candyman or the Mist. I think this is pretty clever, a themed restaurant. There's so many people who, you know, get into Halloween. It's a $10 billion a year holiday. It's a big one, and this is a great way to capitalize.
And we actually used to live right down the street from that space, and that space is just perfect for that. It's got the little trinkets and everything up top. I mean, they can really transform that, and there's a big following, I think, of horror movies and stuff like that. I don't know if I understand it, but I'm sure those people would just love to get scared year-round, even around Christmas.
Yeah, we've got the Christmas Village down in Medina.
Yeah.
So they've got all kinds of fun stuff regarding Christmas there. And now here in Cleveland Heights,
there you go.
Halloween all year long. So we'll see what the next holiday is up for grabs. Next on What's New, a look at the construction happening ahead of the Pro Football Hall of Fame weekend in Canton, how the Hall of Fame Village is shaping up, and how they're planning for more than just football. Plus, Halsey's new album cover art is for all moms. We have her powerful message ahead in the pop break. And also, Matt, you're doing double duty.
Yeah, well, you and I both are. You are always doing double duty, Betsy Kling. It's live look at Skycam right now. You can see, yeah, we've cleared things out. Still some thunderheads in the distance as we look off towards the west. We're not done with the rain yet, but the bulk of it has pushed on through with that line of strong to severe storms we had earlier this evening. Outdoor dining forecasts, go ahead and make it outdoors. Temperatures back into the 70s for most of us. Humidity is still with us, and we're still not quite done with the rain chances yet. We'll walk you through the next couple days, including your upcoming weekend when the forecast comes back. And we welcome you back with breaking Browns news. They've been posting these teasers on social media this week with the date July 24th, 2021. Well, now we know that the team will officially unveil their 75th anniversary uniform on that day at exactly, stay up everybody, 12:01 a.m. That's when the special edition uniforms will be available online to see and buy, but only first to those with a registered Browns app, exclusively for the first 24 hours. How about that? The merch will be available to the general public starting on July 27th. This is all from their limited edition merch collection being called 1946. And I'll tell you, we were out front of this story. Jimmy was hinting at that yesterday. He thought that's what it was. So there you go. What do you think?
Get those new jerseys, and then everyone can be judgy of your new jersey. There you go.
I like that.
In 1 month, NFL players will gather in Canton for the Pro Football Hall of Fame weekend. And as construction continues at the Hall of Fame Village, the Hall is looking to make up for a year lost due to COVID. So what is their game plan? Will Hewick has the story.
An exciting time for everybody in Northeast Ohio and really all across the NFL universe.
It's a historically big weekend for the city of Canton and one they missed last year. Now, in about a month, the Pro Football Hall of Fame will look to make up for lost time by welcoming fans to 2 enshrinements, the class of 2020 and 2021, a gold jacket ceremony and a Hall of Fame game.
A lot of excitement, right? It'll be the first full stadium for an NFL game since the Super Bowl in Miami.
Of course, everyone's excited for the Steelers and Cowboys to kick off here in 1 month, but the Hall of Fame Resort and Entertainment Company is working hard to make sure this venue, the stages behind me, it's all used all year round. Later this month, the Women's Football Alliance Championship will take place here. Then after the Hall of Fame weekend, they have things like the Black College Hall of Fame Classic and the Highway 77 Music Festival, with much more afterwards.
Concerts, festivals, meetings, business gatherings. We like to think that we have something or a space to offer for just about any gathering. We're having people getting married here.
The Hall of Fame Resort and Entertainment Company has been deep into construction around the hall as well, adding youth fields, redoing the stadium, and building the Constellation Center for Excellence. After that, the plan is to move on to retail, already announcing Topgolf, Don Shula's, and Starbucks. Then it's a hotel and a water park.
Frankly, had it not been for a delay in steel shipment, there would have already been retail being built.
Hall of Fame Village has received its fair share of praise and skepticism. Most recently, an outlet called the whole idea a mirage. But Crawford says not only were they not contacted for the story, but he's pretty sure they never visited either.
If you come here and you start to see the programming and you start to see the assets being built, you realize it's not a mirage, and you realize there are real things happening in a very difficult environment.
Crawford says they've learned to ignore the chatter and keep their eye on the prize, a prize that the Hall is just as excited for.
It's really taking shape. I gotta say, it will affect parking for people coming down this summer, but it's gonna be a big payoff on the other end.
In Canton, Will Hewick, 3 News.
Well, of course, we're keeping an eye on the forecast for that when it finally rolls around. We got a little time to watch that, though. Matt Wentz is our double duty guy this afternoon as you're keeping an eye not only on the weather, but anchoring too. Very nicely done, sir, as you continue to juggle. So we're keeping an eye on the radar at this point for the rest of the evening.
I was going to say, Betsy, the show's not over yet. All right, let's not jinx anything. Canton had some big storms earlier today. We're watching the storms down in Stark County. I mean, Betsy, you and I were double dutying together. Matt Standridge, all of us were talking about those storms. Had a little bit of rotation in some of them, a couple funnel cloud reports, but namely just some wind damage reports. That was about it, in the heavy rain. Start with this because we're not done with the rain yet. You'd think a front goes through, we clear out. We've got slim chances across Northeast Ohio this evening. You see the models picking up on something perhaps overnight tonight. But typically this time of year, we don't get these clean sweeps with these cold fronts. You get kind of just leftover, kind of a mucky pattern back behind it. That's what we had. Here's our severe line of storms that moved through earlier today. We had wind damage reports in Bainbridge. Solon had a power pole that was down. We also had reports out in Trumbull County of a potential funnel cloud as we had two cells merging together. Helps to create a little spin in the atmosphere. Good news is most of that has pushed on out now. We're still hanging on to some heavier downpours, extreme southeastern areas of Carroll County. Otherwise, we're drying things out. Nothing severe. Off towards the north, there were a couple showers, still dealing with some thunderheads out over the lake right now, not producing rain. What we're going to keep our eye on for the Tribe game are these storms that are still well away from the ballpark, but they'll be spraying some clouds towards greater Cleveland area. Even the islands, hit or miss showers there. Not expecting anything widespread the rest of the evening, but again, kind of a messy pattern. May have a spot downpour or two, and that will carry through the overnight. Bigger picture, here's the frontal boundary now through Northeast Ohio. We've got all the shower and thunderstorm activity out in advance of that. Still tropical storm Elsa, still a tropical storm over land right now as it continues to rake through areas of the Carolinas out towards the Outer Banks. Heavy rain, the primary threat with that. They've had gusty winds as well, still ongoing. For us, we're watching that lower humidity slowly sink in. You can see some of those showers off towards the north and the west. Temperatures, well, they're lower where we just saw the rain. We're in the 70s, even 60s. Ravenna right now. We heat back up where we brought out some of that sunshine. The humidity, as I mentioned, though, still laying on thick. That has not relaxed. That will take till tonight and then tomorrow to bring in that refreshing air. So dew point by the hour. You can see through midnight, it's still murky outside. Here comes some of that drier air. It's not going to be a fall-like air mass, but it will be a little bit more comfortable compared to where we've been. So tomorrow we're edging the line, towing the line there with that humid category. We stay there Saturday. Saturday still looks great at this point. And then the moisture comes back, the humidity comes back. And once you know it, the shower and thunderstorm chances will also come back as we get into Sunday and next week. So weekend plans, Sunday, not so good, especially later in the day. Saturday looking great. National Design Mart hour by our forecast. Here's your hit or miss showers the rest of the evening. A cloudy start to your day tomorrow, maybe some more fog, haze around, and then we'll eventually start to clear things out. Can't rule out a stray shower as we go throughout mainly the early half of tomorrow. We'll clear things out tomorrow night, a great bonfire night. We're down into the 50s inland. How about that with mainly clear skies until we bring those clouds back on Saturday. And as I mentioned, Saturday looking dry. We will have some clouds to contend with. Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast looks like this. 74 tomorrow. Again, a lingering shower early, otherwise lingering clouds. And then Saturday looks good. There's your next chance of rain Sunday, mainly late in the day. The heat, humidity comes back, and we bring it back this same old pattern with daily shower and thunderstorm chances, especially Monday and then again Thursday next week with Betsy temperatures in the mid, even upper 80s. So we get a little reprieve this time of year.
'Tis summertime in the CLE. All right, Matt, thanks so much. Get back over here. Coming up next, a new dating show is coming to NBC's Peacock platform, but get ready for some royal action. We'll share the scoop and pop break coming up next. Plus, what are these guys doing? We'll show you the experiment and the outcome involving the watermelon. Ooh, and are worth a watch. A rapper's twist on a 90s hit to promote COVID vaccines. Halsey's new cover art is a tribute to all moms. And there's about to be a new dating show in town. Kira Cotton has all the details in today's Pop Break.
Singer and songwriter Halsey is set to release her 4th studio album next month. But it's not the music that's got people talking. It's her cover art and its empowering message for mom. The cover shows the 26-year-old sitting on a throne with her breast exposed as she holds a baby in her arms. In a post on Instagram, she wrote, "This cover image celebrates pregnant and postpartum bodies as something beautiful, to be admired. We have a long way to go with eradicating the social stigma around bodies and breastfeeding. I hope this can be a step in the right direction." Her album, If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power, will be available for listeners August 27th. NBC's Peacock is putting the tradition back into dating. On Wednesday, the streaming platform announced that it is casting for a new dating show called Pride and Prejudice, an experiment in romance. While the show borrows part of its name from Jane Austen's Regency-era novel, the premise is more similar to Netflix's Bridgerton. According to reports, the heroine and her suitors will be housed in a hillside castle and take part in activities such as carriage rides, archery, and even handwritten letters for communication. The show is still in search of participants, so if you're a resident Daphne and Bridgerton or Mr. Darcy, this is your chance. Filming for the show is expected to begin this fall. And a cult classic is being remixed to promote COVID-19 vaccination. Juvenile's 1990 hit, Back That Thing Up, is taking on a new life.
Girl, you look good, won't you vax that thing up? You's a handsome young brother, won't you vax that thing up?
Juvie teamed up with Black, a dating app for black singles, to release the song. The lyrics encourage young black adults to get vaccinated, and the video shows people on the dating app getting vaccinated before meeting up. According to the CDC, young adults ages 18 to 29 made up the lowest group of people vaccinated from December to May. Now, we've had the Vaxamillion and now song remixes. Matt and Betsy, what's next?
Oh my gosh, that was fantastic. The video with the cards going out like this.
It did its job. It's enticing.
Right.
It's got us talking and laughing.
I want to look up all the lyrics now because I remember that song from back then.
I don't know if I would do that.
Okay, maybe not. All right.
Yeah, little different messaging.
Oh, got it.
Slightly
Okay,
different messaging in the original song.
Right, get the shot, guys.
And
get the
Pride and Prejudice dating.
Yeah.
I might actually watch that one. I love Pride and Prejudice.
I think it'll be interesting. I'm a big Bridgerton fan.
Me too.
So I'll definitely be checking that one out.
Right. Betsy got really excited about that, so I'm glad you brought her that
You
news.
had me at Pride and Prejudice. All right, thanks so much, Kira.
Well, this is a night well spent, well, as a teenager at least. Two boys got a bunch of large rubber bands and they placed them around a watermelon. Oh man, until it eventually exploded, sending both of the boys backwards. Oh man, obviously fell off their chairs. Betsy, we've seen this experiment before, right?
Every time it gets me.
Go ahead.
To me,
there's nothing worse than watching that or being outside during a lightning storm because you just don't know when it's going to happen.
When it's going to happen. I always laugh because those videos get the most engagement because you're waiting and engagement, and the longer they can draw you out on watching, the more credit they get with the social platforms. And so these are just classic because, yeah, you could scroll forward and get through it faster, but it's so awesome to watch it, especially right there at the end, and you just know it's coming at any moment.
I'm just stressed out watching that.
By the way, Matt is not a fan of lightning.
I'm not. I'm definitely scared of it, and I walk lower if I'm outside in it. My wife makes fun of me, but
we have thunder in here, and he's like, thunder, thunder.
It's a real threat.
It's all good. All right. Well, it seems like prices are going up everywhere, including groceries. We have some tips to help you save instead of spend.
And how about a 4-day work week? The idea's been tossed around before, but now it's back. We'll take a look at where it's going on and how it's working out so far.
It's a hot topic right now. And going cashless. Kings Island. Yes, Ohio's Kings Island is making the move later this month for guests. That's ahead in Clicking in Cleveland. Stay with us.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Let's get you up to speed on 3 things you need to know. We have some breaking news on the vaccine front. Pfizer is going to seek U.S. authorization for a 3rd booster shot. The company says it would dramatically boost immunity and help ward off the Delta variant. Even though the current vaccines already give you high protection against the variant, right now the Delta variant makes up 1 in 5 cases in Ohio. It also accounts for more than 50% of recent cases across the U.S. We are working on this story regarding Pfizer for tonight on What's Next at 11. The symptoms are wide-ranging, of course, with COVID and the Delta variant, from a stuffy nose, sore throat, cough, or fever. Others, they've had no symptoms at all, and even more have died. Almost 45% of Ohioans are fully vaccinated.
And at least 60 people are now dead from the condo collapse in Florida. 80 are still unaccounted for. This is a video of the Ohio task force crews searching for victims in the rubble with their K-9. They're alongside several FEMA task forces. Last night, authorities announced that they were shifting from a search effort to a recovery operation.
No fans in the stands at the Olympics in Tokyo. The Olympic Committee made the announcement this morning after Japan declared a state of emergency. The country is dealing with a rise in COVID cases. Since the beginning of the pandemic, 811,000 people in the island nation have had COVID. 14,800 have died. There's been a relatively slow rollout of vaccines throughout Japan. According to Reuters, only a quarter of their population has had at least one dose. Originally, locals were going to be allowed to attend the games in person, and only international spectators were banned, but today's state of emergency changes all of that. And I know folks have so many more questions than we have answers right now on that Pfizer thing. Matt and I were back here like, what about this? What about this? We will be working on that story tonight for our 11 o'clock news. In the meantime, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for staying with us here on What's New. I'm Betsy Kling. Matt Wentz in the hot seat. Jay's off this week. And Matt, the first thing I thought of is that restaurant called Hot Chicken Takeover.
Oh, yeah.
This is the hot weather takeover.
That's right. That's right. I got a couple social media responses saying that we should do an hour-long weather special at some point. And I'm sure other people would be bored to death. So that's why we're not doing that.
The producers are all vacating the building at that point. So they're like, nope, you can take it on.
We've got all sorts of charts and all sorts of information.
We could do lots of fun stuff.
Need. That's right. All right. Well, now to our top talker. The price of just about everything seems to be on the rise. We know that, and that includes groceries. So now stores are stockpiling in anticipation that there will be bigger increases in food costs in the future. Here's NBC's Kristen Dahlgren with what you can do now to save.
From bacon to bread, strawberries to cereal, food makers say prices are up, and supermarkets are stockpiling to get ahead of what could be the biggest price increases in recent memory.
Lack of labor and the oil prices and the increasing demand. So it is a kind of perfect storm that we haven't seen before.
In the past year, the price of white bread has jumped 7%, chocolate chip cookies up 11%. Bacon prices jumped 19%, and strawberries will cost you almost 22% more than a year ago. AWG, the nation's largest grocery wholesaler, recently bought 15 to 20% more inventory of many packaged foods.
The idea is to keep prices lower on those items and keep consumers coming to those retailers.
Does this mean we should be stockpiling as consumers?
I know that there is the impulse to do so. But we saw what hoarding did in the past last year. And when there's less on the shelves, yes, prices are going to go up.
Instead, experts suggest saving money by making your shopping list ahead. Check store circulars or coupons, join loyalty clubs, and buy store brands. Kristen Dahlgren, NBC News.
And there are several apps that will help you save money as well. Ibotta and Fetch Rewards give you cash back after you scan your receipt. It's after you've been done shopping, obviously. Coupons.com has an app that lets you scan deals to your rewards card so that you can get the coupons discounted at the register. So those are some ways to save. Betsy, I mean, I think all of us are feeling this firsthand. I don't know if it's our three kids or not, but like groceries is one of our, it's mortgage and groceries now. You know, it's I feel like it's out of control. Hopefully, you know, things will start to level off a little bit.
Well, I know people start thinking, you know, oh, shortages, you know, and that, and you start to panic buy. I had never experienced that. I remember hearing about stories my grandparents telling in the Depression, how if they could find it, they got it if they could, and all of that. Literally this morning, I pulled a roast out of the freezer in the basement. I was like, oh, I totally forgot I had this. So check your freezer, everybody, because you probably have kind of a few days of groceries just stuck down in there from last year.
From when this all started, absolutely.
It's kind of fun that way. All right, well, the debate of a 4-day work week, it's back, and countries around the world are discussing. Japan is recommending in its economic policy guidelines to take on that 4-day work week. Spain is working on a plan, and Iceland instituted a trial program that's working out pretty well so far. According to the Washington Post, the 4-day work week trials were conducted between 2015 and 2019. Here's the findings. It showed that the overall well-being of employees increased. They felt less stressed, not as burned out, had a better work-life balance. Employees worked 35 to 36 hours a week without a pay cut. Now, here in the U.S., some companies like Pepsi, Verizon, and even nonprofits are dealing with the risk of burnout by offering pandemic benefits like more time off, flexible work schedules, and remote working. I got to tell you, the first thing I think of when I see 4-day work week means 4 longer days of work to still get to 40 hours. It's not like they're just chopping 8 hours off of the end of that thing.
Which builds more stress on those days,
exactly.
Right? Yeah, I think it's interesting because we're still trying to figure out, post-pandemic, obviously, what the workplace looks like. Is there some work from home balance, with all the organizations? What do downtowns look like now? So I almost feel like we need to settle that first, give that a couple months to breathe and then work on this. But TV news, obviously, nothing would change. We'd still have to do 5 days a week. So
yeah.
Either way, I think we're fine.
Well, we'll put in our best scheduling efforts for everyone. Maybe you won't be seeing me on Fridays and Mondays. You
See
never
you on
know.
Monday.
Yeah, lucky people. Still ahead for us, the oldest African-American theater company in the country is right here in Cleveland. And they just received a huge donation. We have all the details on who and how the money will be used at the Karamu House. Plus, starting from the bottom, hear from Playhouse Square's CEO on her advice for anyone starting out on their own journey, working their way to the top. The boss lady. Matt, you still got to keep an eye on that forecast. There were some rain showers popping up on radar earlier.
Yeah, still some pops. There's some down towards the Mansfield area. We're tracking some showers and thunderstorms out over the lake right now, out towards the islands. You can see that other one getting ready to head into Avon Lake, heading into western Cuyahoga County soon. The bulk of the storms are out of here. That's the good news, but we're not quite done with the rain or the humidity yet. Some good news is in that forecast as we take you through the next 7 days when we come back.
Hey, yes I do. We will tell you what is clicking in Cleveland today, including something at the Karamu House and something about sports and something else. Okay, good. Because I forgot what the other thing was.
Still getting messages from folks asking about the Tribe game tonight. Yeah, we still have some showers that have been showing up on the radar, but as of right now, we're still a go over at Progressive Field.
Yeah, this reminds me of a couple days ago when we had the showers and thunderstorms out over the lake, and we're, trying to predict if they're going to make it in or not. Going to be hit or miss, but I think it's more miss than hit as we get through the rest of the evening. But boy, we got rain in the right places today. I know it came down heavy. We had 2 to 3 inch per hour rainfall rates with that line of storms that came through. We did have some flooding, especially those urban areas, but boy, boy, do we need the rain area-wide. These are the latest numbers. Look at Hopkins today, picking up over an inch. The rain bucket right underneath where that thunderstorm fell. That puts us up to almost 2 inches on the month. The bottom number is the one you want to pay attention to. These are our major hubs. Still could use anywhere from about 3 to 4 inches of rain. That's better than the 6 inches of rain that we needed a couple days ago around here. So still some dry soil, obviously not today. That'll soak in, get our water tables back to where they need to be. Temperatures right now, though, we had the rain, out towards the east just recently. So temperatures still knocked down into the 60s. You can see where it's kind of rebounded with a little bit of sunshine this afternoon, 70s and 80s. We're all going to fall back into the 60s tonight. A little bit cooler tonight. Humidity, we haven't lost that yet. We've still got dew points well into the 60s, if not 70 degrees. So that's that thick air. It's going to take some time, as it often does this time of year, for a front to go through. The drier air kind of lags behind. So our dew points on the hour, still a humid evening. It's not until after midnight we start to bring some of that drier air from northwest to southeast. And tomorrow's going to be a little bit more comfortable, as you'll notice. So we said goodbye to the line of strong thunderstorms earlier. We had some wind gusts with that. A couple pockets of rotation we're watching, even a potential funnel cloud out in Trumbull County from this. That's now long gone. Flood advisory has been allowed to expire for Stark County. That's the good news. But you can see we're still popping up some showers, still some instability out there. We've got lots of deep moisture still. So we're not done with the rainfall chances this evening. Don't be surprised if you're out and about and we get a heavy downpour, then it moves on out. Areas of Carroll County, you're now in the clear. We've cleared it out in the Canton area. This is the area that we've been watching just south of Avon Lake towards Avon, south of the interstate there. Well, now it's north of the interstate there with the radar update. Pretty heavy downpour moving in. No lightning with that. Not expecting any severe weather from here on out, but this is what we're going to be keeping an eye on as another little atmospheric wave kind of moves through. Bigger picture, cold front, yeah, it's pushing through. We've still got Elsa, still a tropical storm, expected to remain a tropical storm as it heads up and down the eastern seaboard there. This cold front will eventually push her off into the ocean, and then eventually we'll gradually clear those skies out tomorrow. But still some lingering showers tomorrow. You can see on the radar, yeah, just some hit or miss showers off towards the north and the west, but that humidity is going to be the big story as it starts to tank here overnight and tomorrow. So tomorrow, dew points likely in the upper 50s, low 60s. That's fairly comfortable for July. Then we're back to the heat and humidity once again next week. National Design Mart big picture look as we always do the last half of the hour here. You can see nice weekend. How about this? Friday, we finally clear things out. We'll remain under the influence of high pressure on Saturday. If you have outdoor plans, we'll likely start with sunshine and bring in the clouds later. We'll be watching storms off towards our west, but Saturday looks great. Sunday, we bring in a little area low pressure that will likely bring rain chances, especially later in the day on Sunday as it looks right now. And then we stay on the stormy side of things as we get on into your week next week. Typical July pattern. Union Home Mortgage, 7-day forecast, 74 tomorrow. Lingering clouds, spotty showers early. We'll clear things out on Saturday, then we're back to the warmth 80s, some humidity and thunderstorm chances. Monday and Thursday look to be the highest chances next week, but can't rule it out Tuesday or Wednesday either. So we've got a bunch of little lightning icons, Betsy.
Just scatter them across there.
Might
At
rain.
some point it's going to rain somewhere, right? No, I'm just kidding. All right, thanks so much, Matt. Appreciate it. It's time now to see what's clicking in Cleveland besides the activity on the radar. We want to bring in our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Betsy. Hello to everybody at home. This first story here, this is something we're seeing a lot more of in different places. All Kings Island Park locations will go cashless by the middle of July. You'll only be able to pay with credit and debit cards, Apple Pay, and Google Pay. The park says this will make things faster and more secure. Now, if you do not use cards or Apple or Google Pay, do not worry. The parks will have cash-to-card kiosks, so you can put cash on a card. They say with no fees, and they also say these cards can be used anywhere, even after you leave, not just at the park. Now there's big money on its way to the oldest African-American producing theater and cultural arts center in the country, and it is right here in Cleveland. The Caramoo House is getting a $1 million grant from Bank of America. This is to finish up the third phase of its ongoing renovation. This money will pay for theater improvements, a brand new outdoor stage, a full-service bistro, and a patio. So there'll be a lot of things going on there. And we are now just over 2 weeks until the Tokyo 2020 Olympics starts. And yes, we'll all be watching right here on 3. So I asked our What's New family in our Facebook page today, what's your favorite Olympic sport to watch? Thank you everyone for weighing in on that. We got lots of responses. Douglas Clark loves the 100-meter dash. But Denise Stefan Glucker, she's all about the hurdles and the relays, among other things. Diana Assel-Fessler really loves volleyball, and our producer, Monique, she's in the majority here. Most people are loving the swimming and the gymnastics. I am right there with Mo on the swimming and the gymnastics. I can't wait to see Simone Biles and everything she does. But I'm also really excited to see skateboarding for the first time. It's brand new. What do you guys think? Do you have a favorite that you're looking forward to?
Trackster, for sure. When I'm watching those, I mean, the athletes are running. I mean, they're running fast, right? I just know the training that went behind that, and it's just a work of art. It's unbelievable.
Especially the relays, the 4x1, the 4x100 meter relay. That is unbelievable timing, precision, and it's all happening so fast. I myself, I go for trampoline and ping pong. Have you ever watched ping?
I have.
Like they stand like 20 feet back and they're wheeling it back and forth. I can't even see the thing, so it's just phenomenal to have great exposure to all these sports.
There's so many, you can hardly even think of all of them. You know, to think that ping pong and now skateboarding and surfing even are part of the Olympics, it's crazy to see, and I'm excited for it.
It is very good. Thanks so much, Steph. Appreciate it. Well, coming up, her path to Playhouse Square. How its CEO made her way to the top of the entertainment district.
And what do you see this? Plus, it's a heartfelt return. It's how one little girl's best pal made her way back to her at a local airport. It's coming up in our Show Us Something Good.
Modeled by the much shorter-waisted Sarah Shookman.
It didn't fit me. It's a rental.
Oh, that really is yours.
Yeah.
And I asked you yesterday, I'm like, okay, so I can't wear it. You want to try it?
Okay, cool. Yeah, I have you, David. Yeah, thank you. It's just a little cut, but we.
Yeah, right.
Do you also have the safety pins to fix?
Well, we are so excited because live theater is ready for its comeback in Northeast Ohio. And tonight's boss lady is leading that charge. Sarah Shookman spoke with Gina Vernacci, who's in charge of the nation's second largest theater district, Playhouse Square.
I am so proud because it's against the odds that I'm here.
Gina Vernacci may be running the show now, but her path to Playhouse Square was unexpected.
Coming out of a challenging childhood, my siblings and I were raised by a single mom whose earnings were well below the poverty level. I had no plan I was an academic disaster. But nonetheless, I knew that I had to figure out my way.
From St. Louis to center stage, Vernacci started with Playhouse Square in 1984, instrumental in launching the KeyBank Broadway series, a national success story. She was named CEO in 2019, the first woman to hold the job.
My undergraduate degree was an art major, but it led me to finding a small renovated theater in Kansas City, which is where I began my journey, which led me eventually to Cleveland, Ohio, and the chance to just grow up here for the last 37 years.
It is awesome to see that you started here as an intern.
Yes.
And now you're running the place. You're the boss lady.
They said to me at that time, we're $1 million in debt. We're not really sure this is going to work. I can only pay you for 3 months. There are no guarantees. You really need to think about this. And when I got home, I called him and said, I'll see you Monday. This is where I want to be. I just knew it.
After a challenging year of closures, layoffs, and pivots, theater is back in Cleveland. Next up is Disney's The Lion King in September.
The opening of that particular musical, it makes me cry any day of the week. You know, when the sun rises, the symbolism of what that actually means now. But it's going to be wonderful, highly emotional, and a tremendous privilege that of all the places that the Disney company, the Disney Theatrical Group could have gone to do this work, they asked if they could come here because they said, we want to be at Playhouse Square. We want to be in Cleveland, Ohio. It's the best place to do this work.
It's just the start of an exciting rebirth during the venue's centennial season.
Welcome to the jungle.
This stage upon which we now are sitting opened 100 years ago.
Gina is focused on their future stories and her own, excited to get back to spending time with extended family and traveling with her husband.
Well, my personal bucket list, because my name is Gina Maria Cristina Vernacci, I've been trying to figure out how to speak Italian. So I've been listening to tapes, wondering if someday I could, spend some time in Italy.
Her advice for those starting out on their own journey?
Be willing to start at the bottom. Fetched cups of coffee, I took minutes in meetings, like whatever it took to be a part of this, because if I'm going to help you, that's going to also help me learn more. I'm so proud of what Cleveland has here and what we've had the chance to be a part of. And I was willing to do whatever it took to try and help it move ahead.
I am so inspired by her story, knowing where you want to be and seeing where it can take you. And she is also intrigued by Playhouse Square as a destination, Matt and Betsy. She ended up getting her master's degree in urban planning at CSU. And so she really thinks about its role in the city, Playhouse Square as a destination for people when they come into the city, the experience that they have there. It was just a fascinating interview. And we've got the whole thing, 30 minutes, if you've got the time, up on our YouTube page, WKYC's YouTube page. If you love theater, it's really fascinating.
I think so many people only think of New York for Broadway. And then you think about just the incredible shows that we get, oftentimes their first run off of Broadway, granted, but just it's stunning that this is all right here in our backyard and it's accessible.
And she's very humble about it, but Gina is a lot of that reason. She is very dialed in. She's a Tony's voter. I mean, she really works with the communities in New York. And she says it's kind of her pride and joy when she brings up Cleveland and they're like, Cleveland, really? And she's like, watch this, They will come. They want 3 weeks of these Broadway shows here because they know the audience demands it.
I just love hearing her story too. I mean, just the fact that anybody out there, anybody can become anything. If you set your mind to it, she put in the hard work. She didn't mind getting, the coffee, whatever it was. And you never know what the next step is. It paid off for her. And that's just, I'm so inspired by her and what she's done.
In 2021, there aren't many of us who think we're going to spend our whole lives with one company. Right. And even in the arts, probably less so. Yeah. But that she has been there 37 years. Intern to now CEO. It's a really cool journey.
Well, they're going to be packing the house this fall and beyond, certainly. So
can't wait for Lion King. You guys said you got to buy your tickets early, man. I can't wait to take Violet. That's going to just open her eyes.
Right. I would sing The Circle of Life, but we don't have time for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Sarah, for that story. Next, we've all had a favorite toy growing up, right? Well, for one little girl, losing her best bud at the airport wasn't any fun. We'll show you how a group came together to bring him back to her right here in Cleveland.
Then on What Matters Most at 6, 2 weeks later. Today marks 2 weeks since that deadly condo collapse in Florida. Hear from Florida's governor on where crews are now with recovery efforts. In the meantime, it is time for our pop quiz. Which newspaper published its first issue on this day in 1889 with the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, or the New York Times? Have the answer next.
Check 1, 2, 3. Brandon's microphone. How you doing today, David? Everything good, buddy? All right.
David, can you hear me? I'm sorry. Mic check 1, 2, 3.
There's red in there. I don't know how good your vision is.
Oh, I like this close shot. Perfect.
All right, I know you are so curious about this. We asked before the break which newspaper published its first issue on this day in 1889. The answer is the Wall Street Journal. It began with delivery via telegraph.
Nice.
That would have taken forever, right?
Right.
Maybe the stories were much more condensed at that point, but Wall Street Journal, 1889.
At least you get the story eventually.
Eventually.
Better than horseback for sure. Well, today's show is Something Good comes right here from the Cleveland Hopkins International Airport. It's not where we are right now, obviously, but in the city of Cleveland. There was a little girl who was flying with her family and accidentally left her best friend Tiger on the United plane. That happens, right? All these things. So a woman from the airline and 2 men from Cleveland's landside operations team helped try to find the stuffed animal. I'm sure they searched everywhere, but while they were looking, a stranger turned her friend in. The 3 found the little girl returning Tiger to her. There they are. And she wrote these sweet thank you cards to them. So sweet. There's the thank you cards.
Did you ever lose anything on an airplane?
Not sure. As long as we have the kids, we're fine.
I lost a camera. Do you remember the old school disc cameras? Like there was a circular cartridge that went in.
I
this
actually
is when
don't.
I was really little. Thanks, I'm old.
You're doing great, Betsy. So,
Not bad for 75, right? I'm looking good.
Did you get it back?
Yeah, I did not. But man, somebody's probably got some really bad vacation pictures at their house.
Or it's still in there. You never know. Could be lodged between the seat. Last look at the radar here this evening. We're not done with the rain. The severe weather has pushed on out, but we've still got a lot of moisture, some instability overhead. So don't rule out downpours as we go throughout the rest of the evening.
I'll have more details on that coming up on What Matters Most at 6 with Laura, it starts right now.
New COVID threat.
This is a different threat. This is COVID-21. This is not COVID-19.
The Delta variant, so strong and so contagious, it's being given a different name by doctors. We talk with a local expert about why this form of COVID is so dangerous. Fans banned.
I haven't met any Japanese who are keen to have the Olympics.
The Summer Games will go on, but without fans, as a state of emergency is declared in Tokyo, calming fears.
And they need to know that there's not anything wrong with them, that they're just feelings.
As the new school year approaches, a local program helps prepare parents and kids for going back to class post-pandemic. And cameras on patrol. A local police department is using some new technology to help catch criminals in the act. Brandon Simmons will show us how it works.
From the WKYC studios, this is What Matters Most.
The Delta variant is increasing in its prevalence or in frequency in the U.S. and in Ohio. So it's a virus that's been with us for a year and a half now, but it's getting better at what it does.
A new warning tonight about the Delta